hoping everyone is having a great Sunday. Here in Indiana, it has rained for 3 full days. But I wanted to share another Sunday strategy with everyone tonight. And I'm really coming off of a weekend of not only looking at behavior of children that are coming from chronic adversity in adolescence, but this weekend I've really been struck by the dire long-term effects of a child or adolescent's health based on this chronic releasing of these stress hormones that not only produce behaviors in a survival brain, but they are producing an inflammatory response in a reprogrammed central nervous system. And that is very, very challenging. But the good news, as I kept reading and thinking about the resiliency research, as educators, we have an opportunity to be emotionally available, to be predictable and consistent in the way that we begin a day, the first moment a child walks into the classroom. And it becomes a part of our procedures. And I've always observed and wondered about bell work. And so many of you who have heard me present know that we're really taking another look at brain-aligned bell work. But this is about repetition. And as we hear the research reporting over and over again that patterned, repetitive experiences produce different outcomes, different habits, because they're wiring different circuits. If we can begin, whether we teach kindergarten or seniors or college students, if we can open the class with a very novel experience that absolutely invites the students to share their work and to have just an opportunity and activity that is very different. So I want to give you some ideas for what we call brain-aligned bell work, and thinking about how early maturation of brain architecture is about social experiences. So these are some of my favorites, and I want to share these with you this evening, just a few of these. We have one bell work where I put a chair in the middle of the front of the room and kind of makeshift, maybe a little coffee table, little plant, have a coffee cup there. And we ask the students, it's called empty chair, fantasy interview. And we ask them to imagine anybody in the whole world that could be sitting in that chair and they could interview. And they could actually have a conversation with who would that be. And so it might be a family member, it might be a famous person, but we ask them to think about the questions that they would love to ask, and then what aspects of themselves would they like to share with this person. They can draw their responses, they can write their responses, they can dialogue about their responses, but this is a really wonderful way, if something happened in the hallway, if something happened on the bus, when they're coming in, we're intentionally using those first few minutes for them to really do a little bit of self-reflection in something that's very novel. I also begin bell work with a big backpack sitting on a table, and I bring in 5 or 6 items in that backpack that are a part of me. Something that really defines my identity, what I love, my interests, my passions. I'll have a picture of Nellie in that backpack. I'll have a bag of popcorn because I love popcorn. I might have a picture of sugar cream pie or a brain book, something that really shares a part of me and the things that I carry, my private logic, my belief system into the classroom. And we begin to share those because what we remember is that what's shareable is bearable. So anytime something's worrying us, because some of those things in the backpack could be real negative. So, we accept all the items in that backpack, and we explain this as a procedure even before we do this. Another one is showing a short documentary, a TED Talk, a motivational video, just picking maybe 30 seconds of one, and then stopping it and having the students draw or write out an ending at how they think this documentary or even just a video clip will end. Let them imagine and be creative and innovative and think about coming up with their own special ending to that. And the last one, I love this one, it's a belief infomercial. So using symbols, using signs, using color, line, shapes, they can draw maybe a 10 or design a 10-word infomercial about a strong belief that they have, or maybe an experience that happened during those 64 hours over the weekend when they didn't have anyone to share or to talk to. So it doesn't even have to be about a belief. It could be about an experience they had over the weekend, because we know many of our students come in on Monday mornings and they literally have a vacuum or a void of 64 hours where they really haven't had the intentional, dynamic, dyadic conversation that they need socially to develop that brain. So really rethink about your procedures and routines. This is an extra. This is building these procedures and this brain-aligned bell work directly into the beginning of the day. Have a great week.